Hey, everybody. I am on the line right now with a man you know as the Pope, Elijah Burke, D'Angelo Dinero, but now you can call him NWA World Television Champion. Pope, how you doing today?
Doing fine, Mr. Pritchett. And I appreciate you for having your Pope, their Pope, hell, everybody's Pope. And as you said, man, the NWA World Television Champion on the show. Thanks for having me.
You made your return to the ring and won the title. You'd worked with NWA in a different on-air role last year, and this was your second match with NWA. It was under the UWN banner, but was this planned in advance? Can you just talk about how the in-ring return came together?
Well, I like to tell people, especially those who follow me on social media, um, obviously they're aware that, Pope is in the ring and doing his thing. But as you said, that was not the plan. That was not Pope's purpose or role in NWA when I came back for NWA Power. And it's well known that my role was to help others get over the hump, be the mouthpiece, be their, their JJ Dillon, be their Jimmy Hart, whatever the case you want to make. And I think the biggest thing that got me back in there for Power on the United Wrestling Network for the NWA was simply timing. And we all know how that works, and we've heard it time and time again, but just timing.
Was this a hard decision to make on your part? Can you just talk a little bit about what went into it? How you got back in ring shape, or what was the deciding factor? Anything like that?
No, it was never it wasn't a hard decision. I mean, the hard for me only in the sense that you're getting we like to refer to the pandemic version of Pope. I didn't have any time to prepare the way I would like to prepare, physically or mentally. I didn't have a chance to go get in the rings and roll around because for the past couple of months, I wasn't active. The last show I did was about 2 months ago, somewhere in Florida. So yeah, but it wasn't hard at all. I mean, that's just you always got to be ready in this business, and I'm always ready, and I'm healthy. I know a lot of folk thought maybe Pope was injured or whatever, and that's why he wasn't wrestling. No, that was never the case, But I believe in I believe in doing stuff that matters, and if it's not going to matter, then I don't want to be a part of it. Especially on a national scale. So I'm not going to step back in the ring for a throwaway match, if that makes sense to you.
Have you given any thought to how long this run's going to last? I know you're the champ and you want to keep the title as long as you can, but have you thought long term past that? How long you're going to stick around for this next chapter in your career?
Oh, man, it only goes up from here. It only goes up. Yeah, I plan on getting back in the ring. I plan on defending the title as long as possible. I plan on making a run for the NWA World Championship title. It only goes up. I plan on getting in, I'm in good shape now. I plan on getting in greater shape here soon, because now I know where I'm going. I know what I'm doing. And while I don't know the plans ahead of time, I like to be prepared, and I will be best prepared when those plans come to fruition.
You were doing commentary. Obviously, now you're going to spend some more time in the ring. Is this something you could see yourself doing as a double threat of sorts, where you simultaneously defend the title and do commentary? Perhaps that's something you thought about?
I would love that. I have my own podcast as on Pope's Point of View, so I don't have to plug that later. But my Pope's Point of View podcast with Elijah Burke, that's across all of your podcast platforms, and that kind of makes up for my lack of commentary, if you will, because I can give as much as I want to every Saturday at 9 a.m. on my podcast. But to your point, to answer your question, that is, I would love to still commentate as well. That was never going to be, again, the plan coming into NWA Power. But when I was doing so with Impact Wrestling and whatnot, I had a blast. I mean, what's smart, here, this is what I told folks when I started doing the commentary for Impact Wrestling. I can talk forever. As long as I have breath in my body, I can talk, but I can't wrestle forever. And that's the way I looked at it. So the transition was great. Was it too soon for me? Probably, in the sense that I still got so much left in the tank. I got so much to offer. But yeah, man, I look forward to commentating again and working on commentary, because it's just it's great to have as many skills, if you will, in the business under your hat. I produced down in Florida at Fight and Evolution Wrestling. We just got back up and running there. I'm a matchmaker there as well. I got the commentary under my belt, and obviously a wrestler. I got the managing under my belt. So you just kind of want to be a jack of all trades.
I think it's a fair assessment to say you were inspired by Dusty Rhodes. I believe you've addressed that before, but can you just talk about, where the Pope comes from, where you separate, if there is a separation between character, the real person, and just, what makes you, where you're a TV personality, a wrestling personality, but, how true is it to yourself?
Well, when it's just funny because last night Pope was at a former future baby mama house. Take that in and let it marinate for a second. But she had the nerve to ask the same question, so to speak, in the sense of, do they train y'all to talk like that or whatnot? She was making reference to what she had watched previously from the United Wrestling Network. The night that I won the NWA Championship television title. So she's like, do they train y'all to talk like that? And it's like, that can't be taught. So to answer your question, there are only few guys that are able to get in the ring, to grab a microphone and to parlay whatever the message is that they're trying to get across, and to have it come across so authentic and genuine. And Dusty was one of them. Flair was one of them, as we know. And then, you got a couple, you got the Stone Cold and the Rock of the modern era, and others, But there's only a few that get in there today that when they're saying something on that microphone, they do not come across as scripted. And even if you have been scripted, here's what Dusty did. This is why I love Dusty. And here's why he's such a huge influence. Without Dusty, I wouldn't have even got into business. Without watching the NWA, I would have never had the dream. I wouldn't have never believed, when he said, take your hand, I'm reaching out to you right now. It's moments like that brought me and drew me in to wanting to be a professional wrestler. And it's moments like that I try to reciprocate back, and hopefully encourage others in the manner in which it was encouraging me to speak from the heart. And what I love about NWA Power, what I love about, even coming back now to join them with the United Wrestling Network, you ain't going to find no script for Pope. That's what I loved about Pope when he came to TNA. A lot of people give Vince Russo a hard time. I think he's done a lot of crazy things, but the man's done a lot of good things too. And to his testament, that man never tried to script Pope. All he would say is, okay, okay, Pope man, what are you doing today, Pope? What are you saying? And it was that type of thing, because there was never a reason, as he would put it, for a 40-something-year-old Italian to try to write and script someone who is the Pope. I don't know how the Pope would talk. I don't know what the Pope would say. That's your deal. And he let me go with that. And So is it today. And when I was with Dusty, the reason I credit Dusty so much, they were scripting me when I first came up to SmackDown and obviously the ECW. And Dusty come in there with the script. He said, "Here, I want you to read this. You read this, okay? Hurry up." And I read what they had Elijah Burke said, and he said, "You got that?" He took it back, he balled it up, and he threw the paper over his shoulder. He said, "Now that's what they want you to say, but I want you to say it how you want to say it." And so therefore, it just gave me the added confidence to speak and speak freely while still getting across the point that, the writers or whomever was in charge wanted me to say. I've never went, quote unquote, with the script. I've just said what I wanted to say and had inclusive elements of the script.
Now that this return to the ring is in full effect, so to speak, who do you want to mix it up with? Because the last time you were on NWA TV, the roster looked a lot different. You had promos that you started with that, not some of the guys aren't necessarily there anymore. So who are you looking forward to mixing it up with, whether it's defending your title or just anybody that kind of has your eyes?
Well, I'll tell you this. I was certainly really digging into me and Eddie Kingston, and that was going to lead to something as well. But I was certainly digging that. Now that Eddie Kingston is no longer with us, I certainly aim for Nick Aldis, and I certainly love to have a go around with him. Unfortunately, I think myself and Nick would be more better fit for it to be in front of a live audience. But I certainly look forward to jousting with him. I look forward to getting in the ring and going after the 10 pounds of gold. Now that I got my taste of gold, I'm looking for more. I'm looking for greater. Outside of Nick, we got a lot of great talented guys in the NWA, associated with NWA, but Nick is certainly one of them that's at the top, if not the top.
You obviously have experience working in a variety of wrestling promotions, from the live event audience with WWE, the arena size shows. You have TNA, Impact, the studio size shows, and now with NWA and UWN, it's more of a traditional, quote unquote, studio show where it's a callback to the shows that we kind of grew up with. So working in all of those environments and coming back to a studio environment, do you feel like you go in with an advantage, or can you just talk about the experience working in that setting, the pros and cons of all of that?
I think, okay, well, I think for one, because it's a studio show, it automatically gives you an advantage over every other show because it's a studio show. And it's a studio which is made for television and it's presented in such a manner. So because it is a television product that's been filmed in a studio, it comes across better on TV versus, being in the empty arena. So obviously we're just looking forward to, certainly myself. It doesn't matter where you're at, though. It doesn't matter whether you're in a studio, whether you're in an arena. It's up to the individuals that are in the ring to tell a story and to allow that story to cause those who are watching to become invested. And that's what I want to do. If I'm hurting in the ring, I want to make those who are watching feel my pain. If I'm excited in that ring, I want them to feel my joy. But that's the challenge that the industry has been facing right now. That's why the WWE came up with that Thunderdome. So if you're not getting with it at home, they can have all of that noise in the background and a reason to add to that element, so it has somewhat of a uh, natural regularity to it that you're accustomed to viewing. With the NWA, obviously we miss our fans and we miss them dearly. We miss that studio audience. But the one thing about it, whenever that show was shot at the studios in Atlanta, Georgia, you only saw the crowd when they panned over for the most part. There are multiple times throughout the NWA Power series that when you watch, you didn't see nothing but the ring and the announcers or the backdrop anyway. So that's the cool part. And if they chose to add the sound of audience and mix that in, but we're live and maybe that might be too much for them. But again, I don't think we necessarily need that. All we got to do, the individuals that are given the task to go out there and perform, is to perform to the best of their ability and allow those who are watching to suspend their disbelief and become invested in it as well.
So far, we've talked about your in-ring career and how you've been working with the NWA, and outside of that, you've largely worked in your area, your local community throughout Florida with the VCW you've worked for, FEW, to name a few, around the southeastern region. But you're also staying busy with the Love Alive charity. Tell me a little bit about that. You're making a difference in your local community around the Jacksonville area. Just tell everyone how they can get involved, what you guys do, how they can donate.
Wow. Well, first off, I want to thank you for bringing up my charity, because obviously, as you said, it's a great cause, but certainly the cause is just way bigger than me. I also want to thank you for sending a contribution to my Love Alive charity, as what we do here in Jacksonville, Florida, and the surrounding counties that are in Jacksonville. We try to take care, provide for those in disadvantaged communities, and that's basically what we've been about. Whether that's the homeless, whether that's the women in battered shelters, whether that's disadvantaged communities, meaning whether it's the kids going to school or living in poverty. We try to go around and we try to enhance their living environment, their experience, and whatnot. For those who are on the streets, we provide blankets to them. We provide hygiene products, and obviously, even for those who are not, when it's the women, if they're standing out there in line, we feed hundreds and hundreds. Right now, we have fed over 8,000 to 9,000. And our next event is coming up on January the 9th of 2021. And I'm making a push now to try to get all involved who are willing to do so, because my charity is a public funded charity. We work off the donations of people like you who are willing to say, here's a couple of bucks. Here's $10 that I spend, on the regular every day without even thinking about it. So that's what we do. And what I really love is that we operate and serve the community straight out of Burger King. So we don't feed them no peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. We don't feed them. Of course, they'd be grateful for that. But my idea when I started this back in 2011, 12, it was to give back to them the things that we often take for granted. So if anyone's listening or reading, you can certainly go to love-alive.org and you can learn more about my charity and our mission. And you can certainly donate by going to the website that I just listed, or you can donate via Cash App, and that's # the Love Alive charity. and we share videos every year. We sometimes, for our annual event, we share videos on YouTube. You can go check it out and see where your money goes. But for all who will contribute and for all those who have, we certainly appreciate them so much.
Again, it's the Love Alive charity. You can go to love-alive.org to find out more. Donate, find out more information about the charity itself. Very easy to donate on the website. There's a tab where you can go and donate by PayPal or mail-in. You're helping make a positive influence on people's lives in the Jacksonville area. So go to the website love-alive.org to find out more. As we've been navigating this whole situation with quarantine, COVID, I started asking people for match recommendations, thinking we were going to be home, need some new wrestling content that, just for the first time viewing, for repeat viewing. And I've been asking the people I speak to for their personal recommendations for fans, or maybe just, a match that you have some fond memories of. So is there one match in particular that you can point to that, maybe you'd recommend that best represents you as a wrestler, or just one you really enjoyed that, fun to look back on?
Pope versus AJ Styles, 2010. And I'm going to tell you why. That's because that match was, I think it's universally known that I was supposed to win the TNA World Championship from AJ Styles. That changed before the show got underway. And so Pope never became the world champion. Again, that was our lockdown event, I believe, in St. Louis, and if not St. Louis, Ohio. And yeah, it's a hell of a match. It's one of my favorite matches. I ended up separating my shoulder just about 2 minutes in, and I refused. They were telling us to go home. They were telling us to end the match, and I refused to end the match, even though my shoulder was hanging out of its socket. So, so that's one of my favorite matches, and it certainly makes me, this moment of becoming the NWA World Television Champion, it makes it that much more sweeter for myself and certainly for the fans of Pope. And I'm going to tell you why it was so good. Here you are trying to get me off. I'm going to tell you why that moment was so good. That moment was great for me. Not just good, but it became great because all of those people, the fans, the Pope point of viewers, my congregation, that have stuck beside me and have always said, you should have been ECW champion, which I was in line for. You should have been the TNA World Champion. Well, now your boy's the champion of one of the most prestigious belts, prestigious titles in the history of this business. One that I grew up on, one that the American Dream had, Tully Blanchard, Arn Anderson, Nikita Cole, our beautiful Bobby, Stunning Steve, and the list goes on. Well, I grew up, and this title, the NWA television title, means so much more. So I'm very excited that they're that excited about the accomplishment, and I want to let them know that I'm not done. I'm going after Nick Aldis. I plan to go after him. I plan to make some noise. I plan to call him out. I plan to get my shot at the 10 pounds of gold.
How can people catch up with the Pope, find out what you're up to, wrestling, the podcast? Already talked about the charity a little bit, but just where can they find you on social media to keep up with what's going on in your life?
Thank you for asking. You guys can follow me at The Black Pope. That's DA Black Pope on Twitter, as well as The Black Pope on Instagram. You can follow me on Facebook.com/my real name, Elijah Burke. And if you want to see some of the stuff I'm doing on YouTube, as well as follow the charity on YouTube, you can do so at Pope TV for you. That's Pope TV, the number 4, and the letter U. Also give my charity a follow at the Love Alive Charity on Instagram and lovealive.inc. Love Alive Inc. on Twitter.
All right. New NWA World Television Champion, the Pope. Thanks very much for your time today.
Hey, thank you very much, man. I appreciate it.